Stop for 1 second and look at what Colin Cowherd, Danny Parkins, and John Middlecoff were really saying about the Kansas City Chiefs. Not the surface-level version, not the comfortable version Chiefs fans want to hear, the real version. They were not burying Kansas City. They were not calling the Dynasty dead, but they were pointing at something far more dangerous, a hidden pressure building underneath the empire, the kind of pressure that does not look dramatic in May, but can explode by December. Because the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is still the gravitational force of the franchise. Andy Reid is still the offensive architect nobody in the NFL wants to face when the season turns serious. Travis Kelce is still there. Chris Jones is still there. The brand, the fear, the memory of championships, all of that still matters. But Cowherd's warning was simple. The AFC West may no longer be Kansas City's private kingdom. In the discussion, Cowherd looked at the division and saw movement everywhere. The Raiders, in his view, are becoming more competent. Denver may have the best overall roster in the division. The Chargers finally appear to be giving Justin Herbert the offensive line structure he has needed for years. Suddenly, a Chiefs win total of 10.5 does not feel automatic. To Cowherd, the under is not disrespect. It is a signal that the ground has shifted. And the numbers explain why that warning has teeth. According to Chiefs.com, Kansas City's 2025 offense was not the unstoppable machine fans remember from the peak Mahomes years. Patrick Mahomes finished with 3,587 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and an 89.6 passer rating. Good numbers for most quarterbacks, but for Mahomes, they looked human. The Chiefs' leading rusher was Kareem Hunt with 611 yards. Isaiah Pacheco had 462. Mahomes himself had 422. That tells you something disturbing. The quarterback was still carrying too much of the physical burden. That is why the Kenneth Walker edition matters so much. According to Sports Illustrated's AFC West report, Kansas City only had 3 runs of 20 yards or more in 2025. Walker alone had 10 such runs. That is not just a roster upgrade, that is a philosophical weapon. For the first time in years, Mahomes may not have to manufacture every explosive play with his arm, his legs, his instincts, and his survival skills. And that is exactly why Parkins pushed back against the idea of betting too aggressively against Kansas City. His logic was clear. When Andy Reid has healthy quarterback play, the floor is absurdly high. With Mahomes, that floor becomes something even more dangerous. You can doubt the roster, you can doubt the defense, you can doubt the schedule, but betting against Reid and Mahomes has usually been a painful business. Still, this is where the story gets darker, because the Chiefs are not just adding pieces, they're also replacing pillars. The live discussion pointed directly to Trent McDuffie. Losing a cornerback of that caliber is not a small tactical issue. It changes the geometry of the defense. According to Arrowhead Pride, the Chiefs enter 2026 needing a new wave of difference makers after the departures of supporting pieces like McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and Leo Chenal. That means the Chiefs are not simply reloading, they're asking young players to become trustworthy under pressure. That is a dangerous request when the schedule is this unforgiving. According to NFL Football Operations, Kansas City's 2026 road schedule includes trips to Denver, Las Vegas, the Chargers, Atlanta, Buffalo, Cincinnati, the Rams, Miami, and Seattle. That is not a soft comeback path. That is a gauntlet. Parkins specifically noted how brutal it is to have both the Rams and Seahawks on the road instead of getting one of them at Arrowhead. And now the question becomes terrifying for the rest of the NFL and uncomfortable for Kansas City. Are the Chiefs building a revenge machine, or are they trying to patch a dynasty that finally showed cracks? Because 2025 was not normal. According to Reuters, the Chiefs were eliminated from playoff contention by the Chargers after Mahomes suffered a late knee injury in a 16-13 loss. That was not just another defeat. That was the symbolic end of a long era of inevitability. For the first time in years, Kansas City did not look untouchable. But here is the twist. That same collapse may be what makes 2026 so dangerous. If Mahomes is healthy, if Walker gives Kansas City a real explosive running game, if Rashee Rice stays available and focused, if Xavier Worthy takes the next step, and if the young defensive backs grow up fast, this offense can look completely different. According to Arrowhead Pride, Worthy had 532 receiving yards in 2025 after dealing with a shoulder injury, but his speed and chemistry with Mahomes could still create a path toward a breakout season. That is the kind of hidden upside Cowherd acknowledged, even while warning that a Super Bowl leap may not happen instantly. And that is why this team is so fascinating. Kansas City is no longer being analyzed as a perfect dynasty. It is being analyzed as a wounded empire with enough weapons to strike back. Before we go deeper, if you want more Chiefs breakdowns like this, the hidden angles, the roster pressure, the moves the national media barely explains, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Your support is what keeps more Kansas City Chiefs content coming, especially the kind that goes beyond the obvious headlines. Now look at Rashee Rice. In the live discussion, the concern was not only talent, it was trust. Parkins admitted that when Rice is healthy, Mahomes treats him like a true #1 receiver, but the off-field uncertainty cannot be ignored. According to Arrowhead Pride, there's already serious debate about whether 2026 should be Rice's final season in Kansas City because of repeated issues. That matters because Mahomes does not just need weapons, he needs stability. Then there's Kelce. Nobody wants to say it too loudly, but age is undefeated. Kelce can still matter. He can still destroy coverages with timing, leverage, and chemistry. But Kansas City cannot build an entire offensive identity around the assumption that the old version of Kelce will appear every Sunday. That's why Walker, Worthy, Rice, and the offensive line become the real story. This is not just about whether the Chiefs are good, it's about whether they have evolved fast enough. Cowherd's Rams comparison was important. After a disappointing season, a great team can bounce back. But rebuilding a Super Bowl roster usually takes more than one move. It takes draft hits, it takes health, it takes young players becoming real starters, it takes veterans refusing to decline, it takes a coach finding a new formula before the league catches up. Kansas City has the coach, Kansas City has the quarterback, Kansas City has the fear factor, but in 2026, fear alone will not win the AFC West. The Broncos are coming, the Chargers are coming, the Raiders may no longer be a free win, and the Chiefs are walking into a season where every opponent knows the empire bled last year. So the real question is not whether Kansas City is still dangerous. Of course they are. The real question is much more provocative. Are the 2026 Chiefs about to launch the most violent revenge season of the Mahomes era, or did Colin Cowherd just expose the first real warning sign that the dynasty is no longer protected? Drop your answer in the comments, because this debate is going to define the entire season. And if you want more Chiefs legacy breakdowns like this, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Every like, every comment, and every new subscriber helps us keep producing deeper Kansas City Chiefs content for the Kingdom.